Hello, welcome to tonight's presentation. We will begin in a few minutes. We are going to let everybody get in first. Good evening, welcome. If you're just joining us, we are going to begin in a couple of minutes. We are letting everybody get in before we get started. All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. Welcome to tonight's On Track series. Tonight's presentation is all about the class of 2027. A couple of housekeeping things. We do have the chat enabled for this webinar. So if you have any questions throughout the chat, please feel free to drop those into the chat. Later this evening, we will also be having a panelist discussion. So if you have questions for any of those panelist members, please drop them into the chat. Anything about college, career, high school, anything you have question-wise about high school, college planning processes, please feel free to drop those into the chat. So again, welcome to tonight's On Track series, class of 2027. Tonight, we are going to be talking all about the class of 2027. Before we get started, I do want to mention who ICAN is. I am Carrie at ICAN, and I am a student success advisor and curriculum specialist here. And my colleague, Eric, he is joining me as well, and you will see him during that panelist discussions. But we host these On Track events every school year. And so who ICAN is, we are a nonprofit organization who empowers Iowans to find success in career, college, and life. We've been around Iowa helping Iowans in public high schools and private high schools throughout the state for over 20 years. We help students and families throughout all the processes of the college and career planning. So tonight with the sophomores, we will be talking about life after high school, really planning that career and college process. We do have two resources that we will drop into the chat that you all can utilize and look at. The first one is that sophomore calendar, a countdown to your future. This is a great month-by-month calendar of anywhere from 3 to 5 tasks, usually that you can do each month to help you on your career and college planning processes. We also have a guide to career and college planning. So this is an awesome step-by-step process about what steps you need to take to plan for your future career and or post-secondary goals. At ICAN, we offer a variety of advising services to students, families, and to schools. We help, like I mentioned, everything in that career planning process, all the way from career exploration, so what do you want to do, all the way through that selection application process, even helping to pay for colleges, preparing to pay. We don't pay for them, but helping you find those resources with scholarships or where you can look and how to prepare for the FAFSA. And probably what we're most well known for is helping with FAFSA completion. So helping families and students complete those FAFSAs throughout the year. So tonight we are going to talk about those first main important topics when it comes to career and college planning. And some of that very first initial steps is through career assessments. Your first exploration begins in these assessments, which are a series of short questions that help to determine your career pathway that fits you and your personality and your interests. These assessments can help identify your strengths and interests, what you want to do or what you like to do. They can then help match those results to the career pathways or industries that fit your interests and your personalities. You can then also gain a wealth of knowledge on those careers that match you regarding their salary expectations, regarding what education and training is required to get into that career, as well as these assessments can just help narrow down your options to those that fit you. So if you're not quite sure what you want to do, these assessments can help give a guide of options for careers that fit you, your personality, and your interests. One thing that we do strongly recommend students to do is setting goals. And this even includes in your career and education aspirations after high school. Setting some career and education goals based on your assessment results and interests. These goals can then help you to prepare and to plan for that career. Whether those goals regard what kind of skills you need to improve on in order to get into the career that you want to go into, or whether what subjects or career topics you need to take or learn more about to help you in that field. Also setting goals on gaining more experience in that interest area. So gaining some experience in terms of job shadows, which we will talk about it a little more, but also creating goals about a financial plan. How are you going to get to the career you want? How are you going to pay for college? Setting up those goals. Research shows those that have goals in general are more successful in achieving goals, whether it's the exact goal or making modifications, but also specifically when we talk career and education goals, these goals can help to decrease your overall costs and debt when your route to get to the college you need. So when it comes to careers, there's a variety of career clusters, and the advanced CTE, who sets the national kind of framework that everyone follows regarding career clusters, is going through a major revamp and actually now going to have 14 career clusters recognized for students, for the nation to recognize. And as you can see, those are the 14 clusters on your screen. When you take these assessments, they will match you to some of these clusters, which then gives students the opportunity to be able to find careers within that cluster. So they can match to a cluster and find and view all careers available to them within that cluster instead of just one cluster or one career. Once a student has the career in mind that they would like to pursue, the next important thing to start pursuing is what education and training options they need to get to that career. So, there are many pathways for all options out there. Students can take apprenticeships or career training programs. They can do a diploma or certificate program. They can get a 2-year AA degree, a 4-year bachelor's degree, or they can go on beyond that and do graduate studies with master's, PhD level work as well. But every career cluster, every career has different education pathways that students can take. And so to explore all those pathways for students to reach the education that they need. Like I mentioned, we're going to talk about those job shadows. So a great way to help explore those careers is by getting hands-on experiences. Some great ways that high schoolers can do that are through job shadows, which is when you spend a day with a professional in the career area interest of your choice. You get to spend a day with them, learning what they do on the day-to-day job. You can ask them questions, learn more about how they got to where they were at to determine if this is something that you would like to do. Internships are another great way to get hands-on experiences. This is where you take a more in-depth look at a career. You usually get hired. You might be paid, or it might not be a paid position with internships, but you can be then working at that company and see day to day what that company or what that career field looks like. In the state of Iowa, we do have what are called Iowa intermediary networks. And these are individuals that help high schools place students on these job shadows and internships. So if you are interested in this, talk with your school counselor, as they will know who that person is that helps with setting students up on job shadows and internships. And you can start this now, your sophomore year. This is a great year to start those job shadows. Beyond job shadows and internships, volunteering is another great way to get hands-on experiences. You can volunteer within your community or even in your schools to help you figure out if that's a career you want. If you want to be, for example, a veterinarian, you can volunteer at your local shelters to help them along with achieving their goals, but then learning what it might look like to work with animals. And then lastly, another great way for hands-on experiences is join the clubs that your high school has that you are interested in terms of those careers. So if you are interested in the arts or theater, join the art club, join drama, join speech to help you gain interest and skills within those various areas. And then it's reviewing your four-year plans. So you know kind of what career you want to take. You know what level of education you want or what you need to pursue that career. So reviewing those four-year plans that you made back in your 8th grade year, looking at all of those classes that you outlined to take while in high school, and see if they still meet your needs for the career and education that you need to achieve in order to get to your desired career. Also, always continue to make sure that those four-year plans are meeting your high school graduation requirements so that you can graduate on time as well. But within these four-year plans, you can also make sure that you are meeting those admission requirements for the colleges. We have colleges on tonight's panel, and so you can ask away any type of admissions questions you want for those colleges. They will be able to answer any of them for you. But then again, making sure that those four-year plans satisfy your career. So when you talk four-year plans, there is this thing called optimum preparation. So meaning what would be best to have in your four-year plans for your post-secondary goals, no matter what type of education or training you need. This is directly from our Regent schools, so our 3 state schools here in the state of Iowa, Iowa State, UNI, Iowa State, and UNI. So that you can see on the screen that they require 4 years, or saying optimum preparation is to have 4 years in English, math, and science, 3 to 4 years in social studies. They are recommending 4 years, minimum of 2 years for world language. And then all the others making sure you have a well-rounded elective selection within your course selections. So why this optimum preparation? Well, these are recommended courses to best prepare you for college level academics. So if you are choosing to pursue college, doing this optimum preparation means that you are going to be well prepared to enter those college rigor classes and get on the right foot to start with. It also helps to ensure those students that are potentially interested in careers that have a math or a science background, so anything in the health, anything in the medical, anything even in any of the engineering, you are well prepared for those fields. Big one is that studies show taking just a year off, especially in the area of math, can lead to needing to take remedial courses at the college level. This means that you must take courses to help you gain the skills to enter that college level class. So it might be in the area of math. You might not have the right level to get to college. So you have to take a remedial course to get to that level, and then you can take that college level math. These remedial classes do not count towards your college major credits, but they do cost the same as those regular college classes. So it's like an extra class that you have to take in order to get your college degree. Another example of this is making sure you know what your high school graduation credit or requirements are, as well as what your admission requirements are for which college you would like to pursue. Twofold, this ensures that you are putting in those admission requirements classes into your high school courses, because as you can see, the screen in front of you is outlining world language requirements. High schools in Iowa don't require you to have world language as a high school graduation, but as you can see, our 3 state universities have a wide range of if they require world language or not. So making sure you know those admission requirements so that you can get those in while in high school. But also, what we can see here on the screen is you might be able to take those world language classes while in high school and then never have to take another one while in college. So for example, Iowa State, they do require 2 years of a world language for admissions to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and to the College of Engineering. So if you are going to Iowa State, pursuing either one of those colleges, so liberal arts and sciences or engineering, you would need to take world language in order to be admitted into those colleges. You do not need to take any other world language after that. The University of Iowa requires 2 years of a single world language for admissions. And for many of their degrees, you need to get to the 4th level of proficiency, or that 4th year of that language, in order to graduate. So what that means is you could take 2 years while in high school. You can go to Iowa, but then while at Iowa, you will need to take additional world language courses or culture courses in order to meet their college graduation requirements. Now, if you took all 4 of those years of, let's just say you were taking Spanish. If you took all 4 years of Spanish while in high school, you would not need to take any world language while at the University of Iowa. You would have satisfied their admissions requirements and their graduation requirements at the University of Iowa. And then UNI, University of Northern Iowa, they do not require world language to be admitted to UNI. However, they do require 2 years of a world language in high school with a C or minus or better in order to graduate. So you could never take a language while in high school. You could go to UNI, but then you would need to take 2 years of a language in order to graduate from them. If you took those 2 years of, let's just say, Spanish while in high school at UNI, if you got a C minus or better in those courses, you would no longer need to take any languages while in college. I do see a question that came into the chat about what if you're bilingual in a language? You will need to work with your university or the college that you are going into, because many colleges will have a different requirement for this in terms of if you can test out of or if that satisfies their requirements. So that is definitely something you will need to talk with the colleges for on that. We do have colleges on here, so maybe they might mention that as well, how they handle that type of stuff in terms of their requirements. So besides making sure you have your graduation requirements in there and your admissions requirements for colleges, it's also important to have your career-based courses in there. So the courses that your high school offers for the career you want to go into. So for example, if you were maybe looking at a manufacturing type career going into the manufacturing world, you might want to consider taking, or should take while in high school, Intro to ACE, architecture, construction, engineering, construction classes, welding classes in your school to help you in the career that you are interested in going into. This all helps with what's called well-rounded academics, meaning that you are having a wealth of experiences for your career, for your post-secondary, as well as your extracurricular and volunteering as well, all helping you pursue your career explorations. So what can parents do? Parents, you are a great support and guidance, helping your students with things like time management, people skills, money management. These are all great skills that you can help your students with throughout high school to help ensure that they are ready for their post-secondary. Making sure that they know how to do their laundry, how to cook, some basic car maintenance. These are great skills for your students to know prior to going to college. They might be the first time when they go to college, they're going to have to do laundry. So making sure they know some of those skills ahead of time. Working on time management, helping them practice how to use a personal calendar or an app to manage and juggle all of the important appointments and duties that they have to do. Once they get to college, they're not going to have the traditional in classes from 8 to 3 every day. So helping them prioritize and knowing what to do when, and when it is okay to say no to certain things. Those people skills, helping them be articulate, well-dressed, professional, with those day-to-day soft type skills, doing a confident handshake, having eye contact and posture, helping them with public speaking. All of these skills that once they get into the career they want, these are going to be needed skills to help them be successful in those career areas. And then money management, helping them with banking, setting up a checking account for them or a savings account before they go off to college if they don't have that, so that way they have access to money while in college. Helping them budget, You know, once they get to college, they'll have a lot more free time. And so helping them to budget when to use your money and when to save your money. They will probably start getting access to credit cards or credit card offers. So talking to them already about what those credit cards will do, how to handle those credit cards, and manage and utilize them smartly, and so that they don't go into debt right away. I know that was a lot of information there about the career kind of process and preparing. But we do have a lot of great e-alerts that you can sign up for. And so you can sign up for our tips of the week videos or our grade level alerts or event alerts and the reminders as well. You can do that right on our website to get those e-alerts. You can also follow us on our socials and YouTube for a lot of additional information as well. We do have a couple of fairs coming up, and they are, our first one is this coming Sunday. So in just a few days, we have the Golden Circle College and Career Fair. This is held in Des Moines at, well, actually Altoona, at Prairie Meadows in the conference center there. It is one of the largest ones in Iowa. We have 100 of colleges, businesses, apprenticeships type fields there. So it's a great opportunity to come meet with a whole bunch of different representation from colleges all over the state and in other states as well. So again, that is this coming Sunday, September 22nd at 1 o'clock. It goes from 1 to 3, and it is Prairie Meadows in Altoona. Another fair that we host is a military career fair. This flyer specifically says Thursday, October 17th in Hiawatha, but we were just able to confirm today that we are also going to host one on October 21st in Ankeny, and then on October 29th in Cedar Falls. So you can go to the website icansucceed.org/military fair, and all of those dates will be on there as well. So if you are interested in any form of military service, a career in the military, attending one of these fairs would be a great opportunity for you to get in touch with. We have representation from the ROTC branches, from active duty, from enlistments, as well as the academies. So if you are looking in going into the military academies, they will be there as well. All branches are represented, as well as the new Space Force branch that is out. So you can come and learn about all branches there. We do have a few additional resources for parents and students to help with financing college. So I'm going to turn it over to Tara from here, talking about SP3 Student Planning Pointers for Parents.
Thank you, Carrie. Again, my name is Tara, and I am with ISL Education Lending. We are a nonprofit organization in the state that has been around for over 40 years. And our mission is to help students and families obtain the resources necessary to succeed in post-secondary education. So basically, we want to help you plan smart, pay less for college. And we do that by offering scholarships for students and parents, free online college planning tools, and then we offer educational loans as well if you need them when it comes time to pay for college. But tonight, I'd like to talk to you about two of our programs that are give you an opportunity to win money for college, both as sophomore high school students and as parents of sophomore students. The first program that I'd like to talk about is SP3, or Student Planning Pointers for Parents. This is a free email service that's designed for parents of students in 8th through 12th grade. And basically you receive 2 emails a month, and it gives you timely information based on your student's grade level and the time of year of the school year. And it helps promote conversations between parents and students about preparing for life after high school. So as parents of sophomore students, for example, you can expect the articles to talk about options available after high school, including career and technical education, getting ready for college visits, and exploring job shadowing, and learning about life skills needed for life after high school. So many of the things that Carrie already previously mentioned in the presentation. Registration is very easy. You go to sp3.org. And the best part of it all is that we, as part of this program, when you register, you do have the opportunity to win, like I said, free money for college. So by reading the articles and answering a survey question at the end of the article, just basically, it's real simple. Did you enjoy reading the article? You are entered into a random drawing, and we give away 40 $250 deposits to your student's 529 college savings plan. And we do that every quarter. So each quarter you have an opportunity to win. So it's a great program, gives you some additional educational information and gives you the opportunity to win some money towards a college savings plan. The second opportunity that I'm going to talk about is our ISL Education Lending Scholarship that is open right now. That is open now through December 2nd. And through this scholarship program, we give away 45 $1,000 deposits into a college savings account. You don't have to have a college savings account to enter. You just have to open one up if you are a winner, and that takes about 5 minutes through the Iowa's college savings plan. This scholarship is open to Iowa residents who are Iowa high school students. So sophomores, as a sophomore, there's not, you know, this is a great opportunity early on to register for a scholarship. You can be an Iowa resident who is an undergraduate college student. And then as well, parents and guardians of both high school and college students can enter and kind of give you that second opportunity to be drawn. It is a random drawing. And again, for this program, registration is simple. You give your demographic information, and then there's 3 tips that about just college planning process with some multiple choice questions, and then you're entered. And then we do also email you some college planning information throughout the period just to help educate you on that process. So like I said, two different ways to help you earn some money towards college, and both are very simple and easy to sign up. So thank you. Thank you for letting me talk about this tonight.
Thank you. Yes. So yes, everybody on tonight, be sure to sign up for both of those services. One, the scholarship, they are great opportunities to have some help paying for college. One other available service to students and families, unfortunately, the Bureau of Iowa College Aid could not join us tonight. They did have a conflict, but I do want to make sure that we still highlight their program. It's a great service for people to get involved in with as well. But they have what's called Virtual College Coach, a texting program, which connects a college coach via text to students and parents in grades 9 through 12 to receive text messages through and support through the college going process. So you'll receive text on, support for college applications or the FAFSA or financial reviews. So, hey, it's time to fill out those college applications. Did you fill yours out? Do you need help? Or reminders of when to file the FAFSA, as well as scholarship applications and tips and reminders. So again, grades 9 through 12, you can sign up with the QR code there on your screen. Again, we are going to now transition into our panelist discussion. So if there are any questions, or continue to put those questions in the chat, we have been having great conversations and questions come through the chat. So please continue to put those questions in the chat while we get on our panelists. And I do want to remind everybody, or make sure everybody knows, this is recorded and it will be on our website available for all to review after this evening. So you can go back and watch this as much as you want after this evening. It will be available. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Eric, and he will lead us in that panel discussion.
Great. Thank you very much, Carrie. I really appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Eric Danielson. I'm Vice President of Programs at the Iowa College Access Network, and really excited to be able to have some great panelists on tonight to share information with you. We've actually got 3 different sets of panelists that we're going to be asking questions to. We've got a school counselor on. We're going to have some admissions reps, and then also students from those colleges as well. And I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves real quickly here. First of all, I see our school counselor, Andrew, that is here. Andrew, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely. Hi, my name's Andrew Eisman. I'm a former high school counselor, now counselor educator, but I'm here as part of ISCA and to help answer those questions from a counseling perspective.
Wonderful. We've also got three admissions reps that are with us, and I'm going to introduce each of those to you. But as I introduce them one by one, or they introduce themselves, then I'm going to have them introduce the student that they brought along, and allow the student to introduce themselves as well. So I'm going to start with our good friend at Wisconsin Platteville, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for being here tonight.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Kirkenbush. I am a senior regional admission counselor with UW Platteville. If you're not familiar with Platteville, we're about a half hour across the river from Dubuque, Iowa. I have a student joining me, Logan. He is a construction management major. But my territory does encompass Iowa, Northwest Illinois, and Southeast Minnesota. And I've been doing this for about 6 years. So I've learned a lot. And I got to tell you, ICAN is really a top-notch program. Not all states have this type of thing. So you really have a treat in learning all this information. Logan?
I'm Logan Neeson. I'm a senior at UW Platteville. I'm majoring in construction management and construction safety management with a business minor. Looking forward to the panel. I was involved in a lot of stuff that in high school that kind of led me down the path I went down. So it's really exciting to see a program like this.
Well, thanks, Logan. And again, I know it's busy start of the semester here, getting into it, but appreciate you taking the time to be here with us tonight. Looking forward to asking you some questions. Um, Another good friend from Wartburg, Tara.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tara Winter, and I'm the Executive Director of Admissions at Wartburg. I've been in admissions for well over 20 years, so have a lot of various experiences that I'm happy to share with you all. And first of all, if you don't know where Wartburg is, we are in Waverly, Iowa, the northeast part of the state. And we are fortunate to have one of our students, Courtney Matthews, here with us tonight.
Hello, my name's Courtney Matthews. I'm a social work major from Wartburg College. I'm involved in a bunch of stuff on campus, so any questions relating that stuff. I also work very closely with Tara in the admissions office as our ambassador's president this year. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Courtney, and Tara for taking the time to be here tonight for our sophomore students and families. And then we've also got Matt from Hawkeye Community College on here tonight in admissions from Hawkeye. Thanks, Matt, for being here.
Hey, thank you, Eric, and thank you all the panelists and all the participants. Appreciate being here. As Eric said, my name is Matt. I work at Hawkeye Community College in the admissions office as the admissions rep coordinator. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years. And we have Marissa with us from Hawkeye, and I'll let her introduce herself to y'all.
Hello, I'm Marissa Besson. I'm a freshman at Hawkeye this year. I'm involved in a lot of stuff. I work at admissions. I'm in 2 different sports, so I can help out with that kind of stuff too. Super excited to be here, and it's really nice to have a program like this to help out everyone else who needs it as well.
Well, thank you, Marissa. Appreciate you being here. And even though hers might say, I don't know if it says Matt on there for anybody is seeing that, but we just had a little bit of an audio thing, but she's been able to jump on board. So glad we got that figured out. And again, appreciate all of you taking the time to be here tonight. If you've got questions, those of you that are out there, please put them in the chat box. But I've got some questions I want to ask everyone. And I'm going to actually start off with Andrew at first from the school counselor perspective. Andrew, what are some important things students should be doing during their high school sophomore year?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Eric. I think that sophomore year is an excellent time to begin exploring both your own personal interests, to get involved with activities at your school, whether that be athletics, theater, drama, speech, music, any of those kinds of things. But to also start looking ahead at where you might potentially find yourself post-graduation, whether that is a career, college, the military, an apprenticeship, whatever that might be. one thing that would always come up towards the end of sophomore year for our students is what classes we are going to be taking junior and senior year. And starting now with exploring colleges like Hawkeye or Wartburg, Wisconsin Platteville. I'm a Wartburg alum, so I'm a little partial there. But you start looking at what those admissions requirements might be and potentially even talking to those college reps so that you know what you can be taking or need to take while you're in high school. So again, it's beginning with that end in mind, but also in the moment as a sophomore, beginning and continuing to learning about yourself and your interests and what you enjoy doing with life.
Kind of then going down that path and turning it over to our admissions reps with the next questions here then, really building off of what Andrew had just mentioned. Chris, I'm going to start with you first. What advice would you give younger students just beginning to think about life after high school and potentially going to college?
I think really explore your interests. This is probably a common theme. Take some time to really think about what you enjoy doing and what excites you, what you're passionate about. Whether it's a subject you love, a hobby, or something that really interests you can help guide your decision in what you're about to study or where to apply. The other thing I would say also, and this is a common theme, is research your options. There's a lot of different paths. Just start doing that early. The last thing we want is for you to feel rushed during this process. Researching those options and understanding what they all entail can help you make a better decision. And lastly, I would say it's normal for your interests to change and your goals to change. So lean into that. Be flexible. It's a way to learn more about yourself, and it's okay to change your mind.
Tara, same question to you. Anything to expound on that? Really what Andrew and Chris has already mentioned.
Yes, all good advice so far. I would also add, don't put so much pressure on yourself to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. So many times people get worked up because they're selecting high school courses that they think they need to be taking to get on the right path. But it's all about exploring, like you said. Explore those options. Even when you get to college, so many places are going to tell you to take a variety of courses to find what really fits. All the adults here in this conversation, I bet, will say that they didn't know what they wanted to do when they were in college, or even once you walk across that stage and graduate. So it's all about being a lifetime learner and exploring different options as you go.
Matt, a lot of great advice already, but I still wanted to give you a chance. Anything else to add about what advice you would give younger students just beginning to think about life after high school and potentially going to college?
Yeah, I would recommend all those things. I mean, that's a wealth of information right there. Explore your interests and all that stuff, but also take classes where you may be pushed out of your comfort zone just a little bit. For example, when I was a freshman in high school, I was pretty quiet, but I knew I wanted to be a teacher. Am I a teacher right now? No. But I knew one of the skills I'd need to have would be able to talk to people in large group presentations. So I got involved in speech and theater, um, not necessarily for college credit or really necessarily preparing me academically, but it gave me those skill sets to be able to talk to people and be really confident in myself and be able to do those sort of things. So take those classes that, man, I'm kind of quiet. I don't know if I can do speech. You can. Uh, you just gotta put forth the effort and try something new. And that's a really great time, sophomore year, plan for junior, senior year to do that. So that's what I'd recommend. And keep track of your volunteer hours, leadership opportunities, things like that.
Thanks, Matt. Kind of going to get the student perspective now on this. And Logan, I'll start with you first, but want to hear from all three of you. Again, building off of what we've already asked everyone else, what advice would you give young high school students right now during their sophomore year? This is really kind of open-ended, maybe on stuff we've already talked about, but anything else? What advice would you give young high school students at this time?
So I guess the advice I would give, it's pretty similar to everything else. Take advantage of all these opportunities. Carrie kind of talked about like job shadows, the apprenticeships. So I did like 3 or 4 job shadows my sophomore year because I wasn't exactly sure what route I wanted. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to go to college, or do any schooling besides like an apprenticeship after school. So I did 3 or 4 job shadows, and then I ended up taking a position that was placed through school through our youth apprenticeship program as like a mechanical engineering apprentice position. And I did 2 years with them, and I'm still with them to this day. I've done three summers of internship with them, and now I just accepted a full-time offer. So taking advantage of all of these things now will save you a lot of time when you get to college, and save you a lot of money if you don't know what route you necessarily want to go down. All you can't waste your time now. It's all these things are available through this program, and it's awesome. And if I had to go back, I would do it all again, exactly maybe not exactly the way I did it, but it all worked out. And that's my best advice. Also, take as much foreign language as you can in high school, because it really sucks to take in college. Luckily, I didn't have to take it, but I have some friends that had to take it, and it was absolutely horrible. It's a lot easier to do in college. Do as much of it as you can.
Lot easier to do it in high school. You mean, is that your advice?
Yes, a lot easier to do
Yes,
in
high
high
school.
school. Yes.
High school. Okay. Okay. Well, congratulations on that. I wanted to follow up just real quickly because you had mentioned it was something we were going to ask about. With all those job shadows, was there some that you had that you realized that's not what I want to get into right away?
It's not exactly that I was like, that's definitely not what I want to do, but it shaped that I would rather be in a different role. I, looking, a lot of them were construction based that I did, and it pushed me towards the position that I wanted, not necessarily that I would never want to do their job, just it pushed me towards the best fit for me.
Great. Great. Well, I think that is important to find out what might be the best fit for you. And in some cases, I know I've heard from students that they found out they knew a path they did not want to go down when it was something total, maybe 2 different things that wasn't totally related. But that is not a waste of time. That can be very valuable too to help narrow down choices. But congratulations on the job. That is great. Thank you, Logan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Courtney, I'm going to come to you next on that. What advice would you give young high school students right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of play off of what Tara said earlier. Not just don't put as much stress on yourself as you think you like may need to do, because I even in the beginning of my senior year in high school, I started out knowing I was going to the University of Iowa for pre-physical therapy, and that was it. And I am now going to graduate in May with my bachelor's in social work from Wartburg College. So not stressing yourself out so hard on trying to figure out everything in high school when it's all going to work itself out once you get to college, because you're always presented with so many new opportunities that you never even knew existed until you get to college. And so just preparing yourself to have an open mind walking into college is going to be the biggest thing. Wanting to learn new things, wanting to experience new things, and wanting to make new connections with people, I think it's the biggest thing. So yeah.
Thank you. Marissa, I want to come to you as well. I think you're a little bit newer in the college experience than Logan and what Courtney is, so might have a different perspective here. But what advice would you give young high school students?
If I had to give advice, I would honestly just say like try a lot of new things. Really try to find what you enjoy, because it's not going to be fun if you go to college and you're being forced to like study this thing that you don't like. It's going to feel like a waste of time. If you find stuff that you enjoy, you're going to have a lot better experience with your classes, and like get involved in like different clubs and things throughout your school, meet new people, like go try new things. Don't just stick to like what you've always done.
Great. Well, thank you. And those are great perspective. Actually, since Logan had already mentioned it, Marissa, I'll start with you again here real quick. Did you do any job shadowing or internships while in high school?
I did one, and then I kind of found out that wasn't for me.
Okay.
but it's very beneficial. Like I definitely recommend doing it.
Okay. No, and I think that that's still kind of my point was if you find out even by doing that what you don't want, that still helps narrow down the choices. You are still learning something there. So, um,
Yeah.
Courtney, coming back to you, I meant to ask you this too. Did you do any job shadowing or internships while in high school?
Yes, I did one every single year while I was in high school because I was actually just forced by my parents to do it, but it ended up being a super helpful thing because one year I did it with my dad, who is actually a lawyer, and I did not want to do that. Figured that out very quickly. I did it at an insurance company. Figured out I did not want to do that. I also did a physical therapy clinic my senior year in the summertime, right before college, and I didn't like that. So getting all of those different opportunities, but also working with different communities, different types of just job areas, I think is super beneficial to put on your resume, along with just building really good connections for your future. So I think that they were beneficial, even though it turned out to be nothing I'm going to do in the future. It really helped prepare me for what I need to know now. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I am now going to go back to a question to Andrew from a school counselor perspective. Andrew, what are some mistakes that you see students, maybe even we put in parents, make for high school sophomore families? What mistakes do you see sometimes students, maybe even parents, make during a student's high school sophomore year?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. I think that what comes to mind right now is that college admissions, college searches, career, military, all of that has changed so much over the past 4 or 5 years, that a common mistake that I would see a lot is, we've had a family's friend or we've had another student like go through this process before, so we know what we're doing, which because a lot has changed, it's important now to continue to reach out and check with the colleges, universities, ICAN especially, of what's new, what's different. The ACT, SAT requirements is what like pops into my brain right now. Knowing if those are still required or how the scoring has changed. So I would say don't assume that you know everything. And I say that in the most respectful way. Reach out to these organizations that are available to help, and take advantage of that.
Oh, great answer. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. I definitely think things have changed, and sometimes there is misinformation, and a lot of misinformation can be from other families that have went through the process, and it can be different from family to family and their situation. Absolutely. Um, Next, I'm going to go back to the admissions counselors here, and I want to do Tara. This time, I will start with you. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, when evaluating admissions applications, how do the first 2 years of high school impact a student's admission? But if you wouldn't mind also adding on to that question, because we've got one in the chat that was also talking about dual enrollment later on junior, senior year, and what are the good and drawbacks maybe from that? If it, somehow you could tie that together, and then I'm going to ask everybody those two questions.
Sure. So I would tell you, as a small college, we're going to look at every single transcript that comes through our door. So we have the ability to do that. I know not everyone does, but I think that puts students at an advantage because we don't just look at a GPA. When I look through a transcript, I want to see progress. And so a freshman and sophomore year courses definitely count. Obviously, they count toward your cumulative GPA. But if I see a freshman year, algebra course that maybe was rough for someone, and I see a D on a transcript, if you think, oh gosh, that's not great, I don't want that there, but then to see progression as it goes throughout the rest of your years in high school, that is a huge win for us, because we see obviously you found a way to apply yourself and make improvements. I would also say that there are plenty of circumstances out there that are unique to a student. if we see a drop one particular semester, we're going to ask you about it. We're going to say, like, did something happen? And we've heard tons of stories out there, like, a huge health event in their life or a family member's life. And so all of those things matter, and we want to be able to look at each student individually. So I want to tell you everything matters, but I also acknowledge that everyone has a story too. And so we're going to take that into account. As far as dual enrollment goes, in general, I would tell you, the more basic the courses, the better. At Wartburg, I'm sure like every other college is going to be able to give you some recommendations related to the basic courses that you're going to that you could take. The ones off the top of my head, like an intro to psychology, a speech class, composition, all of those are very likely going to be transferring in to that exact course at all of these places. So think about some of those. I would tell you to possibly, though, try to steer clear for some of those classes that you may want to major in. So the example that I like to give is if a student is pre-med at Wartburg, I would tell you, you certainly can take anatomy, as a dual enrollment class, but I will tell you that we're probably going to ask you to take that again at Wartburg. The reason why is because, the format's just probably going to be a little bit different. It would certainly put you at an advantage to take a course like that and take it again. Probably would get a better grade even, but we want to make sure that you have the preparation. And I think we all would agree, like we want to make sure our people that are going to be doctors are very well trained. So we want to make sure that you're taking those core classes for your major all at Wartburg. I would also say, and the last thing I promise, if you're going to take a business course and you take accounting, for example, at, as a dual enrollment class, we're not going to make you retake accounting. Like it's pretty black and white, right? When it comes to something like that. So just some of those courses with very specific career paths, we would just steer you clear of hoping to get credit that eliminates some of those classes that you would take once you get to your four-year school.
Well, thank you, Tara. I appreciate it. To get it from a perspective of a college, community college that would offer some of the dual enrollment courses, Matt, I wanted to ask you the same question. The importance of the first 2 years in high school impact students' admission, say at your school, but also then a dual enrollment perspective too.
Yeah, I would say for admission at Hawkeye, yeah, it actually does impact, I think, students who may not do academically very well in high school, go to community college. We have 4.0 students as well, don't get me wrong, but it can impact your admission if you have to take like, let's say math wasn't your strong suit, when you have to take a college level um, fundamentals math class. It can just kind of delay the process a little bit. So really staying focused on academics, building, your volunteerism, your work, all this stuff counts even at community colleges. We have merit-based scholarships as well. So, you want to keep those in mind as well. For in regards to dual enrollment, yeah, I want to just reflect what Tara said too. We have tons of dual enrollment students, um, and they're all being taught the same curriculum. But say when you're in high school, try and stay away from those uh, degree specific classes. Like she said, anatomy. We offer human anatomy, physiology 1 and 2 at the high school level, but I would recommend taking it at a college level on campus because we have different facilities that are available, things like that. So some typical ones that are good to take in high school would just be intro to psychology, intro to sociology. Um, work with your school counselor on what's available because different high schools have different agreements with community colleges. So if you're speaking with a friend, hey, what's your student taking at this school? Well, they're in a different school district. Your school district may not offer the same dual enrollment credits. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, just develop the routines necessary to be successful with study habits, time management, things like that. That's going to help you go a long way in preparing for college admissions and then being successful at a community college, a four-year institution, wherever you find yourself.
Oh, great points, Matt. Thank you very much. Chris, a lot's been shared, but I still want to come to you on it. How do the first 2 years of high school impact a student's admission at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville? And then your thoughts or advice on dual enrollment to students and parents.
Right. My predecessors really spoke true feelings in regards to what is really important. You really need to look at the course rigor that you're taking. We like to see progression on that application. I think Tara alluded to that, in that you challenge yourself academically, but also sets up some study skills for you to be very successful as you move through high school and things. Those courses can be as a freshman and sophomore, can very much influence what your total GPA is. So for example, I want to just touch briefly on that. Something that's changed at Platteville this year, and some other schools maybe too, is we used to look for merit scholarships on your high school transcripts. So freshman, sophomore, and junior year, those grades will come in with on your high school transcript. We used to include the SAT and the ACT for merit scholarships. Now it's solely based on those high school transcripts. So if you're a freshman or sophomore and you're getting some D's and C's, you're not going to have that ability to bring up your grade point average when you apply, because you only have 3 years of grades. So that's where it's really important as well, obviously for admission too. Dual credit. I just want to touch, and I put in the chat a little bit, be careful those major specific courses. I always get really nervous about students going into a STEM field like engineering, biology, chemistry, data science a little bit, because most universities and colleges have a very specific pathway, and their 4-year plan has a certain structure to it. And they would like to have certain math courses taught by the university, because there's different philosophies on what's important. And that's why I just want to warn students, if you're going to take those major specific, be careful for those. The other thing we haven't mentioned is a tool that a lot of school districts utilize is Transferology. Transferology, most schools have, it's a free platform where you can plug in what your what your dual credit classes are at various community college throughout Iowa, and see how they will transfer to several different schools. So you can see how they're going to transfer and know ahead of time. So a lot of good information here.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I loaded that question up together with a couple different things, and you all three knocked it out of the park. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to go back to our college students right now. Courtney, I'm going to start with you this first time. What were factors that were most important to you in picking your college and major that you got into finally?
Yeah, I would say overall for the whole college thing, I just really wanted a community, a smaller community. I grew up in a really small community and I really liked that. I knew I would want that. And so that was the biggest thing. Along with that is just the comfort of home as well. Like, you don't want to be in an environment that you don't feel safe and comfortable in. And so that was another huge thing while I was looking into schools, as well as like a place where I know I can go to my professors and they'll know my name, and they'll also know like when I look like I need help and when I can go to them and know that they'll help me. So those are going to be my biggest things. Along with my major, I would say the biggest thing looking into majors, I came in as pre-physical therapy and now I'm doing social work. And when I started, it was great. I got all of the help and accessibility that I needed, but it just wasn't for me. So Wartburg made it really, really, really helpful for me to just switch my major when I needed to know that I can still graduate on time was also a really big thing. And they worked with me very closely in doing all of my classes, figuring out that 4-year plan that if we switch now, we can still get you graduated in May in 2025. So yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Marissa, come to you next. What were some factors that are most important to you in picking the college you're at, Hawkeye?
Mine is pretty similar. I picked Hawkeye because it's small enough that it's a community, but there's big enough where you are going to be meeting a lot of new people constantly. And it's just really nice to kind of know that you always have people with you, that you know it's nice to have the smaller class sizes. So yet again, like your teachers can kind of tell when you need help, and it is easier to get that one-on-one help when you need it. And then with my major, like all throughout high school, I was doing every elective everywhere because I'm very indecisive. And I just ended up kind of finding things that I'm passionate about and trying to find a way that I could make that into a profession. So it took a lot of like meeting with my counselor, with my college readiness coach and stuff, and just kind of experimenting to find things that would work for me.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Logan, what were some of the factors that were most important to you in picking Wisconsin-Platteville, as well as the major? You've kind of discussed this, but I want to still ask again the major and career you've decided on.
So I always kind of considered Platteville because they do a lot of youth events for the surrounding communities and everything like that. So I was familiar with Platteville. I'd been to campus a lot when I was younger. But it goes back to one of the, as far as picking my major, it goes back to one of the job shadows I was on. All three of the people in the job trailer that day, all three graduated from Platteville with construction management degrees, which at that point I didn't even know that Platteville offered a construction management degree. So then I looked into that, and then I realized that there's 2 schools in Wisconsin that offer it. And ultimately, I ended up going with Platteville because I met with our program coordinator and a prospective student, which wasn't exactly offered from the other school, and she pretty much sold me um, on the program and where the program will be when I graduate and how the program's been developing, and I've seen it all and more, and that's why I landed on Platteville.
And you might have said this before. I'm sorry, I'm getting older, so getting very forgetful. When are you graduating then?
I'll graduate in May.
You'll graduate in May as well. Okay. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Again, love getting these different types of perspectives as we're going through this. Andrew, I'm going to come back to you with a school counselor perspective. Do you have any specific events or activities that you would encourage sophomores to do this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it was mentioned in the chat, getting out to those college fairs that are happening, starting to, again, exploring what those opportunities could be for you. And then, of course, checking with your school counselor to see what is happening at your school. Are the college, career, apprenticeship, military representatives coming to your school to share information with students? And how do you get signed up to meet with them in small groups? Is there an activities fair happening? Are there student organization fairs happening to talk about everything that's happening, again, in your school? That really goes back to the get involved, and start exploring things that you're interested in, or maybe you don't know you're interested in yet, but to just kind of get out there and explore.
Thank you. There's been a few questions, or if not, I believe, and there's usually are about the taking the standardized test as being a part of this. Matt, I'm gonna start with you on this one because it can be a little bit different. I know at Hawkeye, maybe compared to the other schools, but first thing I will ask is, do you have any requirements for the ACT or SAT standardized test, or is there any other kind of assessment that is used at Hawkeye that students might need to do at some time while they're in high school?
It's a great question. Right now we don't require the ACT or SAT test for admission. It could help you with placing you in the correct math and reading writing course. But for admission to the college itself, it's not required. All you need to do is self-report your cumulative GPA. And if you don't self-report, then we'll take an unofficial copy of high school transcripts. Now that gets you admitted into Hawkeye Community College. It doesn't mean that students can start registering right away in the spring for fall classes, because if students haven't taken college level math, or let's say composition 1 or college level reading and writing, they're going to have to take what's called the AccuPlacer test. And that's not like going to kick you out of the college or anything like that. That's pretty much just to see where you're at in regards to your math and reading and writing skills. And so that way we would place you in appropriate classes. So, you can take that at your local community college campus. High schools offer that. And it's free to take for the first time. And, give it a shot. And some community colleges may require it for concurrently enrolled students to be able to take college level math or reading and writing classes regardless. So it's always good to get that under your belt. But for ACT, SAT, not a requirement. Do I still recommend it? Yes, because it gets you in that college going mindset of, yeah, this is something I really want to pursue. Um, if anything else, there are career indicators at the end of the test as well that could show you, hey, this is where your strengths are. These are some possible careers where your strengths lie. So that way it can kind of help you out figuring out what your next steps in regards to your career as well.
Chris, I want to come to you with the question now too, getting the perspective on at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. Are you a test optional school for the standardized test? And if so, are there still any benefits for students then if they're looking at your school to take the ACT or SAT standardized test sometime?
We are test optional for the next 2 years, depending on the Board of Regents, so through 2027. I don't see a downside to taking the ACT or SAT. They are good preparation for college. And it also can be great to utilize on some scholarship opportunities, depending on the college that you're attending. So our financial aid does not rely heavily on those, but there are a few that it's really important. It's very important to take a standardized test just so you can hone and develop those skills, because you're going to need those when you go to college. It's good preparation down the road. So for now, ACT and SAT is optional, and they'll re-review it in 2 years.
Tara, just anything to expand on, like how does Wartburg look at the ACT, SAT exam? Are you test optional? Any benefits? And I guess something I haven't asked yet is when do you normally encourage students in high school to take it for the first time?
Wartburg is also test optional. We simply do not need it if you do not plan to take it. But of course, we encourage you to send it to us for all the reasons that Matt and Chris mentioned. So I love what Matt said about, getting in the college mindset. By taking the ACT, it does give you just a kind of a good start, a little bit of an assessment of where you're at. But I would also remind you, again, don't be too hard on yourself when it comes to taking a 4-hour test on a Saturday. Like, that's rough. I would not want to do that again. But I would just say, research shows that a GPA is the best predictor of success in college. So just keep that in mind. I mean, GPA shows your work ethic in a lot of ways, where, a test is also just going to test you with random information, over the course of 4 hours. So there's no risk involved at Wartburg. There's no risk involved at a lot of places. And like Chris mentioned, certainly there could be some scholarships tied to some of those opportunities. At Wartburg, for example, it will never hurt you. So, but we don't have any scholarships that are tied to any test scores as well. And Eric, what did you say your last question was?
When maybe a student might take it for the
Yes.
first time in high school?
Thank you. I think a lot of times we see it happen junior year. Sometimes when it was more common for people to start taking or to still take any of those tests, sometimes we'd see it sophomore year. A lot of times people would take it maybe sometime during their junior year and then retake it during their senior year after they've finished, all those junior year courses, particularly for math and science concepts. So I'd say if you're going to take it by the fall of your senior year at the very latest.
Thank you. I'm going to go back down to our college students. And Marissa, I'll start with you the first time here. If you could narrow it down to one high school experience that really prepared you for your transition to college, what would that be?
I would honestly probably say like my probably just a few of my classes in specific, like personal finance and stuff, really just give you the eye opener of like she kind of sits down and explains every finance that you're basically going to have in college and kind of what to expect, because going into it you are just kind of sometimes thrown in, you don't know what to expect. The sense of like crazy freedom that you're going to have all of a sudden, your parents aren't in the same house as you. It's a lot of change, and so just kind of those classes that help you prepare for that change, like your personal finance ones, and then we did have other like kind of like home ec classes that teach you how to do things for yourself, like the cooking classes. I feel like those definitely like prepared me.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Logan, same question to you. If you could name one high school experience that sticks in your mind that really prepared you for your transition to college.
I would have to say probably my youth apprentice, through balancing that with my work release, school, and then also doing 3 sports. It helps you create that that you need to be able to create your schedule and manage your schedule, because you're not going to have your parents sitting behind you being like, hey, it's time to get up, you got to go to class. So being able to rely on yourself to know when you need to be places, and that sometimes you just you just got to get through the week, and it's going to get better, it'll get easier. And that's probably the major, having to work through all of that, and schedule and everything like that.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Courtney, same question to you. You could name one high school experience that really prepared you for the transition to college.
Yeah, it's very hard to pick just one. I was a very like overly involved student in high school, and so that really reflected in college, just like being able to time manage really well and being able to stay organized. I learned that very quickly in high school. But along with that, I think also just like I had a couple years of high school during COVID. And so learning to teach yourself the things you don't know, but then also being able to reach out for help really early on before even getting to college was probably my biggest resource as well. Just learning to adapt and be flexible very early on.
Great points. Great points. Kind of forget about that, but yeah, you would have experienced some different couple of years than anybody has ever experienced before while going in high school, no doubt about it. All right, as we are winding down here, if there are any last minute questions that we can try to answer in the chat box, hey, I just want to tell all of our panelists, I know some of you are Andrew and our admissions rep, you're answering some of the questions too, along with Carrie in the chat box. Thank you so much. I meant to mention that before. We've had some great questions in there that are getting answered right now. So continue to put those in as we wind down here. But really what I want to do lastly is have a kind of an open-ended question to each of you. And as are my typical order, Andrew, I'll start with you first. But I really wanted to just ask, is there anything else that you would like to reiterate tonight, or maybe something we haven't talked about that you think is worth sharing with our high school sophomore students and families tonight?
Yeah, thank you. I would say that, there's always that pressure to do what others are doing. And so especially when you're thinking about what you're going to do post-secondary. And I would just encourage you to remember that this is your own journey, and there's no one to follow, in a sense of, do your exploration, do your college visits, career visits, the apprenticeships, the job shadows, do all of those things. Don't just kind of follow the crowd in a sense, because this is going to be a fundamental part of your life, and it's important for you to have that opportunity to explore yourself.
Great. Well, thank you. And Andrew, thank you very much for being here tonight. Really appreciate it and getting your perspective as well. So thank you very much. Tara, I'm going to start with you on this open-ended question. Anything else to share that want to reiterate, or maybe something we haven't talked about before with the high school students and families?
Well, I love what Andrew just said, not surprising as a fellow knight. I would just say, you know, if you do select a college just for one thing, like your major or friends or athletics or music, don't forget that sometimes those things can change. The one thing I always tell athletes, don't come to Wartburg just because you want to play basketball. If you tear your ACL and you're done, then what? I want you to love Wartburg for other reasons too. So apply that same logic with, whatever thing. Of course, there's going to be reasons that drive you to certain places, but just make sure that you like the college as a whole and not just one aspect. I would also say, see the colleges and universities through the financial aid process. No one is going to pay the sticker price ever. So all of these schools have merit-based awards, there's need-based awards. Don't ever look at a college sticker price and think, oh gosh, I can't afford that. You have to go through the financial aid process, file the FAFSA. ICAN, we plug all the time. They're amazing. They can help you through that process. They probably think, gosh, Wartburg tells everybody to come here, but they do an amazing job helping families file the FAFSA. Please go through the process at every school that you are considering. So many times people get to that end result and get a financial aid offer and think, oh, this is way better than I expected. So I would just make sure, see every school through to the end, just to make sure you can really get a good picture about what the investment's going to look like.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you for being there. Those kind words. We do not say that because it's nice to be wanted for something. So no, thank you very much. And again, appreciate you being here and your perspective. Chris, come to you next. Any last words of wisdom, advice, something to reiterate, something new that you would like to share to the high school students and families?
Two things. This is a process. Take your time. Don't rush yourself. But please remember to enjoy your senior year. We've been through a lot. I think one of our students talked about, they went through a very odd time frame during high school. So enjoy your senior year. That's one thing. And the other thing is really do your homework. Talk to friends, talk to family members, talk to your counselors to gather that info. But really don't be influenced by other people on what you want to do. If your gut is telling you, I don't really want to do this career path, stand up and say something, because it's your career. You can switch gears, of course, down the road, but if you're not really into a specific major, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to take the academics seriously. Really find that path that speaks to you, and be strong and stand up and say, I'm not sure I want to study this. And then find the true path that you're really looking for.
Thank you, Chris. And again, appreciate you being here as well. And I know we'll see you Sunday at the Golden Circle College Fair out at Prairie Meadows. So thank you very much. Matt, coming to you. Any last words of wisdom to the high school high school sophomores that we have and families we have here tonight?
Yeah, the other three professionals before me hit the nail on the head there. Visit as many campuses as you possibly can. High schools will let you miss a certain amount of days for college visits. Take advantage of them. If you're going to Wisconsin, go to 3 different schools in Wisconsin. If you're going to Northwest Iowa, go to 4 or 5 different schools if you can. Spend an overnight stay. That's kind of what helped drive my decision, was I was able to connect with a friend who knew people on campus who lived in the residence halls, and I got to stay overnight. Experienced college lecture, went to a basketball game. I went to UNI twice. So that was pretty cool. So visit. We love to stay busy in admissions. We value your time, and we want you to come visit us. But I'd also like to add, as sophomores and even as adults, there's this concept of extreme ownership, and the concept is owning everything about your future, right? Owning your successes, owning the areas that you may not be successful in, and doing some self-evaluation and seeing how you can make that process better. Um, it's all about getting to know yourself as an individual. Um, and so take extreme ownership of everything from now for the rest of your life. Today is a great day to restart if you need to. Build relationships with your teachers, your faculty, your staff at high schools. Um, really show that you do care about your education, and continue to strive for greatness. And when you do have those setbacks, and you can look back and say, okay, I've had this before. This is how I moved on from it, back then. Um, this is how I can move on from it in the future. Life is full of mistakes and learning moments. So um, just challenge yourself to own every single aspect of your life, especially now with your grades, with next year into your senior year. Knowing the financial aid process is going to be really important. Um, and just keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Eric.
As always, Matt, appreciate your perspective and advice. So thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. I am now going to turn it to our students to give their last bit of advice. And I will start, Courtney. I am going to start with you on there. What is some last advice that you would give to the high school sophomores and families tonight?
Yes, my biggest piece of advice I've been a high school sophomore before. Don't stress yourself out about it. You still have time, but definitely keep an open mind about college. And also as you're looking for colleges, make a list of all the things that are crucially important to you and use those as a list to kind of look for the college you want. Because if a college just has kind of like what Terry said, one thing that you want and 10 things that you don't want, but you're going for that one specific thing, it may not work out in the end. So go for something that's going to house about 5 to 6 of very important, crucial things for your life, and it'll be your little community and home. So, yeah.
Great advice. Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate it. Next, wanted to come to Logan. Logan, what advice would you give? Oh, sorry.
I don't have too much last advice. Just take advantage of all of these opportunities that are in front of you. I was lucky enough to take advantage of them, and it worked out. And if I could go back, I would take advantage of all of them again. You are planning for the rest of your life, so a little bit more work now will definitely pay off in the future.
Excellent. Thank you, Logan. Marissa, you're a newer college student compared to Courtney and Logan. What advice would you give to the high school sophomores and families ending here tonight?
The best advice I would give, I would definitely say visit as many of the colleges that have what you want, what you're interested in as you can. Go with an open mind. I know I had my heart set on another school. I visited Hawkeye just because it was in the area. Ended up falling in love with it. And definitely also try to talk to people, if you're gonna play a sport, talk to people that are on that team already and get their insight on if it's kind of the environment that you want, the environment you're going for. Don't just look online and be oh, well, online says this. Don't base it off of that. Definitely try to get the in-person firsthand, see how you feel about it. Don't go based off of other people.
As all excellent advice. Again, thank you to our college students. Courtney and Logan, I hope senior year goes well for you as you graduate next May. And Marissa, as you're just getting started, I hope all the years in college, including this semester, go smoothly for you too. So really appreciate all of your perspectives to be able to give. But Andrew, Chris, Tara, and Matt, thank you as well. Your perspectives are so valuable, and I appreciate also the time that you took putting in stuff into the chat box for the questions as well. That is great too. So thank you all for being here tonight, and everybody that attended today. I am actually now going to turn it back over to Carrie to wrap us up.
Thank you so much. And yes, everybody, attendees, thank you so much for attending and being here this evening. To all the panelists, colleges, the students, to the school counselors, thank you for your question or your answers. Very knowledgeable, great information shared about the entire process, especially sophomore year. I feel like is that year that is not quite ready to apply for college, but there are definitely things that need to happen that sophomore year. So being here to help them with that process is amazing. So if you have any questions, I know some of the college admissions people have put their emails in there, so please, in the chat. So please, if you have questions, jot those down, reach out to them. Again, we are always available at ICAN. Call us. I have put in how to sign up for our e-alerts in the chat. So reach out to us at any moment in time. Students, good luck for the rest of this year. I know it just started, but good luck and enjoy homecoming if it's about to happen. Enjoy that as well. Have a great night, everybody.